Good afternoon. My name is Mickey and I'm at the main branch of the Shawano County Library, and this is Hungry Librarians. January is typically our soup month here at the library, and we would make a soup, different one every week, and hand that out, and we're kind of missing seeing you all here for that. So we thought this month we would make our theme soup, so we still can do that. And the recipe that we picked today is a cheesy Southwest chicken soup. So we all live in Wisconsin, so we know sometimes it snows a lot here or it's really cold and we don't want to leave our house, but we want a nice pot of soup. So Cassie and I are sponsoring this program today, and we thought, how can we take a soup recipe and maybe alter it by the ingredients that we have on hand? So that's kind of what we're going to do today. So the first thing we would do is take 3 chicken breasts and we would bake those. Salt and pepper them, toss them in the oven at 350 for about 30 minutes, and when they were done, you would remove those and shred them with a couple of forks. Well, in our effort to substitute, Cassie had some chicken breast that was already baked or cooked in a bag, frozen, and so we just kind of diced that up really fine. So how we would start is with some Tostitos salsa con queso. I think you could substitute this if you had maybe some Velveeta cheese and some salsa at home. You could mix those two together. I happen to have this at home, and so we're going to use what the recipe calls for. And we're just going to scoop this into a large pot. So the next thing we're going to add is 1 can, just your regular size, of Campbell's cream of potato soup. That's going to make this nice and thick and hearty. Yeah, I've not really used cream of potato for anything else.
Oh, interesting.
But it gives you some nice chunks in there, a little heartier soup then. And you don't need to add milk or water to this like you maybe normally would for a bowl of soup, just the condensed.
Sounds good.
Then we would add a cup of sour cream, and it can be light, it can be fat-free, it can be full of fat, whatever you have on hand. If you have a little less than a cup, that's okay. And then we're going to add 1 3/4 cup of chicken broth. You can use chicken broth, you could use chicken stock. I think any of that is just fine. I happened to open one of these just a couple days ago, so I'm using that. The exact measurement is the 1 3/4 cup, which is about that 14.5 ounce can. So we're going to add this in, and then we're going to whisk this all together. Try and get all of that in there. So while we always post our recipes to our Facebook post, if you think about it, if you have a favorite soup that you make, please add that. Let us know.
And we're doing soups this month because normally in January we do the January thaw.
Yeah, yep.
Which was soups every week. But we can't do that now because we can't have patrons in the building, right?
So I'm going to move this over to my hot burner now. I've got this turned up really high. A hot plate really takes a long time to sort of heat up, so I preheated that about 15 minutes ago. So we're going to let that start to heat up. And then the next thing we're going to add is green chilies. So when you look at this recipe, once Cassie gets that added, you'll see in the recipe on top it calls for 2 ounces. The author of this recipe in the notes says that they don't like it quite that much. So they only use about 2 ounces. We at the library kind of like green chilies. So I'm going to dice them all and add the whole can in. So again, with substitutions, if you didn't have a green chili, I did also have in my refrigerator a fire roasted sweet bell pepper. So it's not quite a green chili, but it does add a little flavor. It makes your soup a little more complex to have that type of flavor in it. So I think that would have been a good substitution as well. We like to cook at my house, so we do have an awful lot of these types of items in our kitchen. All right, so we will add this to our liquids.
Smells good.
It does. You could tell as soon as we opened this can today, everywhere in the library, you could smell the green chili. Okay, next we have frozen corn, about 2 cups. I processed with my daughter-in-law corn this fall, so I'm just grabbing one of those.
You could probably use canned corn if you needed to.
I think you could.
I would just not put
absolutely.
it in until the very end so it doesn't get too mushy, huh?
Right, I would agree. Okay, so then this calls for taco seasoning also. And again, in the notes that were on here, it doesn't specify a brand. None of that really matters. I buy it in bulk from the Lark store. They don't use the whole packet in the recipe. So I like taco seasoning, so I'm going to use kind of what I think is probably a packet's worth, which is probably a good 2 tablespoons.
Sure.
So that's what I'm going to drop in there. And then the last thing that this calls for is fresh cilantro. I didn't have it, Cassie didn't have it, so we didn't pick it up. One of the notes here she has is that you could use a dried cilantro, but it also says that not everybody in their family likes the dried, so we're just going without. So this, I'm just going to kind of stir this together a little bit before I add the chicken in, just to get that taco seasoning all mixed in. But it already looks like a good cheesy Southwest style soup.
This would be an easy soup to double or
It really would.
triple if you have a big
Yep.
family too.
If you simmered it down here, it's kind of thin yet, but it's got to cook for 1 to 2 hours.
Oh, 1 to 2 hours.
It says 1 to 2, simmer it, and so you're going to thicken it that way. This would make, if you really boil it down, you can make a great chip dip. We are going to eat this with chips, but you could have a spoon or just a scoop, either way. So look at that. That looks yummy. This would be great tailgating, football game.
Yeah.
Got some playoffs coming up. Go Pack Go. So that would be wonderful. So again, you would let this simmer 1 to 2 hours, depending on how thick you want. If you didn't have quite enough chicken broth, you could add a little extra water. I think if you didn't have a cream of potato, you could also use a cream of chicken. So again, looking for substitutions in your home. What do you have on hand that you can make that fabulous pot of soup on a cold Wisconsin winter day? I want you to know that we're still doing curbside pickups here. We're quite busy with those, and that's been a lot of fun that we get to talk to all of you on the phone and get your orders together for you. We do have a lot of programs going on, so watch our Facebook page. You can go to our Shawano County Library webpage and see our calendar of events there as well. We do have a lot of kits that are going out for adults, for teens, for children, and we have the same kits available in every location. So if you're over in Tigerton and you see something that we had been offering over here, you can get the same kit in every location. So make sure you check those out. Give us a call. We'd love to talk to you, get you some materials in your hands, and you have a very fabulous day. Thank you.